Deep within the medieval castle, there was a torture chamber unlike any other. It was called the Oubliette, a pit-like structure where prisoners were thrown in and left to rot. The name came from the French word oublier, to forget, and that's exactly what happened to those who entered the abyss below. No escape, no hope, just an unspeakable horror. In this video, we'll explore the origins and psychological impact of the oubliette, a medieval torture that will send shivers down your spine. The only way to enter an oubliette, a specialized kind of dungeon, was by a trapdoor located at the very top of the structure, which was excruciatingly out of reach for the prisoner. This awful prison was frequently in the form of an extremely tiny hallway, making it impossible for the inmate to sit down or even drop down on his knees. Sometimes, the inmate was even chained to the floor. As he starved to death, he was made to either stand or lie prone in an awkward position. He had to bend his head back to get a glimpse of the grate, which was high over his head and completely out of reach. Oubliettes were sometimes constructed within the walls of the upper floors of the castle rather than in the dungeon, so that victims could hear and smell the life of the castle while they were slowly starved to death in conditions that are incomprehensible to modern ears. Many oubliettes were found, many centuries later, to be littered with human bones. The corpses had been left in the oubliettes so that rats could consume them. Who was cast into the oblivion of an oubliette? There are several oubliettes in English and Irish castles, although it is unknown who specifically met their end in one of these dungeon-like chambers. Based on the history of these castles, it's conceivable to speculate about the identities of the people who were held captive there. Oubliette at Leap Castle is located in Ireland and is known to have a gory history. It's also said to be one of the most haunted places in all of Ireland. In addition to that, it has an oubliette. The O'Bannons and the O'Carrolls were fighting families that took turns living in the castle after it was constructed around 1250. During their time there, the O'Bannons and the O'Carrolls were parties to several conflicts, including assaults, seizures, massacres, and fights. During those early years in the history of the castle, it's possible that captured members of the opposing clan were punished by being put into the oubliette. If that's the case, they met a fate far worse than death. At the bottom of the oubliette in Leap Castle, around 8 feet below the trapdoor, there was a collection of sharpened wood spikes that pointed menacingly upward from the floor. A prisoner who was thrown into this oubliette would almost certainly sustain serious injuries, and there's a good chance that he or she would be impaled on one or more spikes, only to endure excruciating pain as his life slowly ended. In the 1920s, the oubliette was a location of discovery of a large number of skeletons. In fact, it took 3 cartloads to remove all of the remains from the property. At Warwick Castle, a protracted and torturous ending. Because William the Conqueror had the castle built only 2 years after ascending to the crown of England, Warwick Castle in England has a history that dates back to the year 1066, when England was conquered by the Normans. During the early years of the castle's existence, its prisoners were frequently French soldiers who had been taken prisoner in combat. The oubliette in the castle is laid out on this side, is quite long and narrow, and is lined with sharp stones that protrude from the floor. In this scenario, the prisoner is forced to lie face down on the stones, while the ceiling of his squalid cell is only a few inches above him, preventing him from escaping his excruciating pain. In addition to the unavoidable physical suffering, the prisoner may quickly lose his sanity as a result of the claustrophobic and wet conditions in which he is being held. Oubliette was found in the county of Nottinghamshire in England. Although it's believed that the oubliette first appeared in French castles, other countries in Europe quickly adopted the macabre concept. However, it was not until the 1800s that they began to use the term oubliette to describe these dungeon-like structures. In the year 2009, one was found in a castle located in the county of Nottinghamshire in England. At first, the specialists were at a loss to determine what this peculiar construction was. Archaeologists investigated the hole and determined that it was once used as an ancient oubliette. As may be seen in the video that follows, there is a school of thought that suggests Robin Hood, who is of course a native Nottingham resident, may have been detained in this same location at some point in time. That's all for this video. We'll be right back, so don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe.